We've been wondering whether Republicans in the House of Representatives and in the Senate are ever going to denounce these outrageous new members of Congress. We're talking about people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Madison Cawthorn. Or are Republicans going to be supportive of these new radicals? Or are establishment Republicans going to avoid talking about them altogether? And we're going to look through two examples today. We have our first example, and it's a really good one. This is Steve Scalise. Steve Scalise is a Republican congressman, also the House Minority Whip. And he was on Fox News yesterday morning, and he was asked about comments made by Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. And somehow he was able to abort that question and talk about Joe Biden, China, and carbon. It sounds like this couldn't possibly happen, but it's exactly what happened. Let's take a look at the video clip.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, the freshman congresswoman from Georgia, under some fire for past comments. I'm going to be meeting with Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy later. And Liz Cheney is going to have to talk to some of her members on the Republican side who would like to see her removed from her leadership position because of supporting impeachment and voting for that. Based on your conversations, are more of your members supportive of Greene or Cheney?
Well, first of all, I've rejected those statements by Marjorie. And, I think we're going to be talking tomorrow in conference. We're going to have an in-person meeting, in the Capitol, where we're going to be talking through a lot of these issues internally. Look, first of all, we're very united in our opposition to the devastating economic hits that President Biden has been doing in his first 2 weeks. The Paris Accord, we haven't even talked about, will crush American manufacturing and send it to China, where they emit 5 times more carbon to make things like steel that Pennsylvania will not be able to make if they get that. So we're going to be talking about all those things.
Steve Scalise is a horrible ideologue, but he's also somewhat of a realist. And he does seem to realize that Marjorie Taylor Greene is bonkers. I mean, just cuckoo. But he still manages to pivot on a question about Marjorie Taylor Greene and talk about Chinese carbon and Joe Biden. And it's just out of this world. What do you think about Marjorie Taylor Greene? He talks about carbon, and there's a difficulty here for Republicans because until it's clear otherwise, they have to assume that the types of people who support Marjorie Taylor Greene are an important part of the electorate to the Republican Party. They have to assume until it's proven otherwise that a lot of the supporters and voters of Marjorie Taylor Greene are also the types of people that people like Steve Scalise need to continue getting support from. And I'm not saying that Scalise would otherwise denounce Marjorie Taylor Greene, but he must be aware of the fact that denouncing her straight up might not play well with the portion of the voters that he and his party need. And in the end, failure to act is a form of consent. And all of these Republicans who no doubt will fail to do a damn thing about these outrageous radicals that got voted in during the last election are complicit, but they are trying to sort of thread a needle to avoid consequences as much as possible for the Republican Party and for themselves. That's all they're doing. We talked earlier about Newsmax now doesn't want anybody talking about Dominion voting systems. And they tried to kick off MyPillow guy Mike Lindell when he wanted to talk about Dominion voting systems. Newsmax has not all of a sudden decided that the truth is important. Newsmax has not all of a sudden decided that journalistic ethics matter to them. These things are financial, pragmatic calculations, and it's the exact same thing with Steve Scalise. And case in point, the further we get from January 6th without accountability, the more and more that Republicans like Steve Scalise are going to be able to just opt out of condemning the people who were most responsible in the Republican Party for inciting that riot, which certainly includes Donald Trump at the top of the party, but increasingly also includes people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert. After the Access Hollywood tape, some of them claimed to be outraged, but then they weren't anymore. And then, just months ago when Kelly Loeffler was asked about that tape, she was able to get away with saying, I don't even know what you're talking about. I've never seen that tape. I don't know a thing about it. And the sort of last thing before we move on to the next clip here is we've been looking at a lot of interviews over the last few days that Republicans have given on CNN, Fox News, Newsmax, OAN, etc. Notice the complete lack of policy platform in the Republican Party right now. Yeah, I know that that's been the case for a while in some bigger picture sense, that it's been a lot about just prevent Democrats from doing stuff. But right now, there is a completely they're not even pretending to care about policy. They say Joe Biden is doing too many executive orders. They say, where are we going to get the money for all of this stuff that Joe Biden wants to do with the COVID stimulus $1.9 trillion package? And they say, why hasn't Joe Biden more quickly dealt with the virus, even though he's only been in office for 2 weeks? They aren't even pretending to have actual policy proposals of any kind, with the exception of that pathetically small stimulus package that they are proposing as an alternative to Joe Biden's. It's about being anti-Biden. It's about being anti-Democrats, and it's about a PR essentially at this point. And if they had fought the virus with half the conviction that they've been using over the last 14 days to fight Joe Biden, we would be much better off in this country. We would have had far fewer COVID deaths in this country. But sadly, that's never been their priority. Let's now look at another example of a Republican confronted with the comments of Marjorie Taylor Greene. One of our sponsors today is Helix Sleep, and it's a sponsor I'm thrilled about because I sleep on a Helix mattress at home, and it's just the perfect mattress. One of the best things about Helix is you don't have to guess which mattress do I need, which one will be good for me. You take their famous sleep quiz on their website. You tell them your body type, your sleeping position, your back pain issues you might have, and they will pair you with a mattress that will be perfect for you. I took the sleep quiz. The mattress they suggested was exactly what I needed. I often get too hot at night. The mattress keeps me cool. It's not too soft. It's not too firm. The texture is right. And I've just been getting way better sleep. You only buy a mattress every decade or so. Don't get stuck with something that's not perfect for you. And all Helix mattresses come with a 10-year warranty, and they'll even come to your house and pick it up within 100 days if you don't love it. But I think you will. All of my viewers will get up to $200 off your order, and you'll get 2 super premium pillows for free when you go to the link right underneath this video.